so sure, needing you more and more. Gonna show you what I have in store. Some games that I wanna play. Just tell me that you're on your way. Cause I can't wait another day. And I know you wanna play. Girl, I know the spots that make you hot. Maybe ready or not, you know. Girl, I know the place. It's within your place. Tell me that you're on your way.
Hey y'all, can you hear me? I can't hear me. Okay. Hey y'all, this is girl Lisa, and it is Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everybody who's not working. Hope y'all are having a great day. This is, I guess, technically the last barbecue day, but you know, for black folks, every day is a barbecue day. We like the post office. Rain, shine, slow, sleet, whatever. Anyway, so how we feeling today? I hope everybody is having the best year. It's going by super duper fast. It is already September, people. Understand that we are a couple of months away from Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then we get to start it all over again. I'm going through empty nest syndrome because the boy is gone, but everything else is pretty good. So, you know how your girl feels about horror movies? I like them. Not all of them. I'm not big on creature features. I don't like ones that got like crazy sharks and things like that. I don't really do aliens. I'm not a big sci-fi fan. I mean, when I was younger, I kind of lumped sci-fi and horror together. But as I got older, I realized that I'm less sci-fi, more horror. Some sci-fi can sneak in if it got a little horrific parts to it, but for the most part, I'm a horror girl. That being said, I'm not every horror. Like I said, I'm not, I like a good slasher. Don't get it wrong. I like a good slasher. Um, I don't like I said, I'm not big on animals. I'm not big on creatures like Sharknado and things like that. I don't do that. I'm more in the paranormal, supernatural vein of horror movies. I like a good vampire. I like a good werewolf. I'm not averse to a good zombie movie. Every now and again, I want to watch some zombies. But for the most part, most horror movies nowadays have try to go on the based on true events or exorcisms or have a religious vein to them. So, or found footage. Somebody stupidly goes into an empty building that is reportedly the most haunted building in that area by themselves and nothing but a camera. They don't even take no holy water, barely take a cross. I'm like, really? I said all that to say this. I watched Deliverance. Now, for all those that do not know, I'm going to start off with the fact that Deliverance is based on true events. Now, when something says based on true events, a lot of times that means that the director and the screenwriters and everything took an actual event that happened, added some true elements, but basically it is a representation of how they saw this particular thing happening based on true events. It doesn't mean that this is the actual story because in we're talking about Deliverance. Deliverance is a new movie by Lee Daniels. It has Andre Day, Glenn Close, Monique, Angelou Ellis. These are all extraordinary actors. They acted their ass off in this movie. I would give this movie like a strong B minus, C plus in that area. And as we get into it, I'll tell you why as we go through things in it. And then I'm also going to bring in the actual case that it was based upon. It was based upon a demonic possession that happened in Gary, Indiana, to the Amons family. That is mother, 3 children, and the grandmother. All right, so let's start off. I was excited for this movie because I'm gonna tell y'all something. Black people don't do well in horror movies. It just is what it is. Classically, it is what it is because realistically, that's just not our thing. Now, there have been some along the way. There have been some good ones. There have been some terrible ones. But the reality is, if you watch mainstream horror movies, for a long time, the black person was the first person to die. We definitely didn't make it to the end. Now, as times have changed and viewership has changed, the movies have had to change with it, but they haven't changed that much. We have been getting an onslaught of a lot less B movie horror movies as far as it comes to black, and a lot more because the blackening was pretty good. I like the blackening. Hold on, let me see. Hey, how you? How you doing? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Um, I'm. It's been getting a lot better. If I see something that is has black actors in it, I'm gonna try it. Now I may not finish it, but I'm gonna try it. So when I saw this, I was excited. I was excited about the caliber of actresses. I was excited they got Glenn Close to come completely out of character. Lee Daniels got Glenn Close to play that stereotypical white woman that has always dated black men in the black community. You know the one. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So in Deliverance, we have mother, daughter, three children. Cool. They don't really go into a backstory as to why there has been issues between the mother, Andra Day, and the CPS worker, Monique. I don't remember their names in the movie, so don't give me the line on their names. Don't remember the names of the movie. So I'm gonna call them by their real names so y'all know who I'm talking about. So they don't go into much of a backstory, which is fine. The reality is, if movies actually told you the entire story, the movie would be 4 or 5 hours long. Wouldn't nobody want to watch it? So they do have to compact, and they have to leave out. And sometimes it's to the hindrance of the story, because I would have liked at least one flashback as to why Monique had such issues with the Andre Day character, the mother. You can tell from the way the mother and the grandmother interact with each other that the mother and the grandmother got issues. You can tell that. You can tell by how pissed off Andre Day is during the whole movie. She's mad the whole movie up until the end to when she becomes. I'll get into that later. But anyway, she's mad the whole movie. And you can tell she is running from some internal demons by the amount of drinking and things she's doing, in spite of knowing that there's an active CPS worker that keeps coming to her house randomly and wants to take her kids. Because at the end of the day, that's what Monique wants to do, regardless of why she wants to do it. The Monique character wants to remove those kids from Andre Day's care. Now, I don't know why. Like I said, without the backstory, we don't really know why she is so hyper focused on this one person. Because the way the characters are interacting with each other, it seems personal. Like, and when you don't have a backstory, even a small one, you have to guess. The way Monique is acting in this movie, it's like them her grandkids. Like Andre Day's character had them babies by her husband, by her son. But again, because we have no backstory and we don't know why Monique is focusing on Andre Day, then we have to guess. And that's when, you spend a lot of your time doing stuff you shouldn't have to do in a movie, trying to figure out why she's so mad. Well, I'm trying to figure out why Monique was mad too. Monique was mad at her the whole time. It's different from seeing somebody actively. She wasn't acting like she was mad with her because she was hurting herself. She was just acting like she was mad for some reason, like the girl that did something to her, slept with her husband, something. So the movie starts off with introducing us to the three children. It's a young boy, Trey, and he is the focus of the demonic possession, the little boy. You also have the daughter in the middle. She's the middle child, and she looks to be in her teens because she's having a birthday in there. And you have the older son who looks to be in his late teens, and you're introduced to them. how the kids are walking home from school and the son is being bullied by some corner boys. By the time he gets home, the corner boys hit the little boy in the head. He bleeding. The mama see blood on the sister's shirt. Asked the sister what happened. The sister told her what happened, and the mama immediately tells her, "Hold my beer." Walks down to where the corner boy is at, kicks the boy in the balls, and then tells the boy, "Don't mess with my kids," because she was cussing. She did a lot of cussing in the movie. Like I said, the Audrey Day character, the mama was mad the whole movie up until the end. So they move into this house. They move into the house. And almost immediately, things start happening. Noises, banging on walls, things like that. And for all of you that have ever moved into somewhere, you know it's not easy just to move out. Every time we see a horror movie where somebody moves into a house and then stuff starts happening in the house, and the first thing you think to yourself is, why don't they just get the hell out? I would just pack up my stuff and leave. I would leave that stuff in there. I'd be gone that night. The reality is, in the real world, you can't just up and move if you want to. Y'all do understand that the majority of America is one paycheck away from living up under a bridge, one paycheck away from being homeless. And if you put all your money into this house, where you going? You can't even go to a hotel. So a lot of people, when things start happening, the first thing they do is try to rationalize those things. They don't try to figure out how to get out. They try to rationalize. Maybe it's the people next door. Maybe we got rats upstairs. Maybe it's my kids not doing what I tell them to do. So that's basically what she did. She tried to rationalize the things that were going on. She tried to rationalize the change in her children because the little boy started changing. He started getting quieter. He started talking to himself. And he was a little old for an imaginary friend. But because mama was going through what she was going through, she really wasn't processing it as the fact that, hey, something's going on with my kid. Mama was, like I said, fighting her own demons. Her and the liquor was fighting demons together. Hold on, let me look. See what somebody says. Okay. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, Super Rainbow Queen. Hey, y'all. All right. I'm just checking. Yes, it's a good movie. I will give it to you. It's a good movie. Um, like I said, I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about what the movie is based on. So when you look at it, you'll get a different perspective because a lot of people are looking at this movie for the first time, really not knowing the true story it was based on. And if you look at the true story, if you know a little bit about the true story, then it makes watching the movie a little bit more interesting because then you see stuff. All right, so fast forward, the kids are coming up with these bruises. The little girl has a bruise on her arm. The little boy has a bruise on his side. The son is the older son, because of everything that is going on in his real world, is not really processing what's going on in his house that he doesn't understand. So he's gotten kind of quiet. So the mother character, Andra Day, is drunk most of the time. And her kids see that. And these kids are trying to process their father leaving. And I think he's in the military. They don't really state that he's in the military. They just say he's gone, he's overseas, he's gone away. And I'm assuming he's in the military because somebody said he was deployed somewhere. So I'm assuming he's in the military. Nobody says. The way they said it was like he just upped and left and went to some other woman's house. Like I said, a lot of the explanations, because they're not really explaining themselves, you spend a lot of time going, oh, well, maybe this, maybe that. You spend a lot of time outside of just enjoying the movie trying to figure out the logistics and what's going on inside of the movie. If I had to critique it, I would say that the storytelling, they're not telling the story well enough for you want to it to, you spend a lot of time trying to decipher as opposed to just enjoying the story. So yeah. So naturally, Monique shows up at the most inopportune times. So for some reason, there is a stench in their house. The house is funky, it stinks. And flies keep coming up from the basement. Now, I'm not a, I, look here. I ain't gonna lie to you. If we move into a house and the basement look like a cellar or look like somewhere where the dead bodies at, I'm not going down there. I don't give a shit how long we living there. I'm not going in the basement. However, if flies are coming up from the basement, if every time I open the basement door it smells like something died down there, even if I don't go down there, I'm gonna get somebody to go. DC going down there. Somebody going down there to see what's down there making the smell. Even if we weren't having anything paranormal, anything could have crawled into the basement and died. So, hey TC, hey baby. So, oh, okay. There's a link if y'all want to click on the link. If anybody else has seen the movie, y'all can come on up. It's who? It's pinned. Baby is telling me that from the background. You know I don't know. Um, so Mama called somebody to come check and see what's in the basement. There's a dead cat in the basement, and he's taking the cat out of the basement. As he comes, the Monique character comes. Now understand, like I said, the Monique character is killing me because the way she's popping up in these first few days, because it's not like she's doing it's not like she's doing home inspections. She's just popping up to have an attitude with the mama. Now, I've never had to deal with CPS on any level. I've never called CPS on anybody. I've never had CPS called on me. I have never had to deal with that situation, but I can imagine that having to deal with CPS coming out to your house can be a stressful situation. And from the clips that I've seen that people, because people will post the clips of DCS coming out to their house, these people are not looking it. I can understand why the situation would be confrontational, but the Monique character is not coming off like she's doing her job. Like I said, while she was a good character, she was funny, and I understood where she was coming from. Her delivery, the Lee Daniels delivery of this character was irritating me because I'm like, why are you picking on this girl? Because it didn't seem like she cared about the kids so much as she cared about picking on the mama. And by extension, the grandmama. The cat was black. It's a black cat in the basement, and it was deceased. The mother, the grandmother, the Glenn Close character is white. If everybody don't know, the Glenn Close character, the girl mama is white, and she's going through cancer, and and that will play into the story at some point. And I'll let y'all know. The Glenn Close character. Let me tell you about the mama character right quick. The Glenn Close character is she's around our age, me and DC's age, late 50s, early 60s. And she grew up in a time where she was one of the only white girls in the black neighborhoods growing up, dating the black guys, having kids by the black guys. I don't know, this looked like her only child because I haven't heard they didn't really specify whether or not she had any other kids or whether there were aunts and uncles going on in the situation. So we just gonna assume that this is her only child. She moved in with her daughter, and I'm thinking she moved in with her daughter to one, help with the kids, and two, chemo, and she's not as she used to be. Like I said, this is the departure from the other characters we've seen Glenn Close play. And in my estimation, she played the hell out of that character. She wore the wigs, the nails, she talked the talk, and she walked the walk. So I wasn't mad with her. Her character was supposed to be what it was, and she played the hell out of that character because when I saw the character, I didn't see Glenn Close. I'm just gonna say that. Um, the relationship between the mother and the grandmother was not a good one because from again, like I said, the story was told but not told. It's like we're supposed to catch up. Hey y'all. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm talking so because y'all know that I get the rambling off on a completely different tangent. So if I don't speak to y'all immediately, that is why. So hey y'all. Okay, so again, what was that? Anyway, so that's the Glenn Close character. So this was not a huge lot of, it wasn't a whole bunch of people in this movie. It was, yeah, she played her part. No, she played her part. She she was supposed to be stereotypical, and she was. And like I said, when she played the part, I didn't see Glenn Close. I was confused for a minute. I was like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was like, is Glenn Close supposed to be black? If she's supposed to be, if she's supposed to be playing a light skinned black woman, I'm mad. But if she's supposed to be playing a white woman that, older that dealt with just exclusively with black people, then I'm cool. So no, she's supposed to be a white woman that dealt exclusively with black people, black men, and I was cool, like I said, cause like I said, she played that on that role. I was like, she was. I was like, all right, Glenn, I see you. I see why you got them Oscars. Okay. And that's the thing. Everybody on the cast was either Oscar winner or Oscar nominated. That's crazy. Monique has an Oscar. Glenn Close has more than one Oscar. I want to say Angelou Ellis was also nominated for one, and Andre Day was nominated for one. It did not win for playing Billie Holiday. The entire cast. It was and they also had what's his name? Omar Epps. He played a character who was dating Glenn Close character, who was loving on Glenn Close character. I was like, what? Like I said, Glenn Close was going through chemo, and she would go to her chemo treatments, and he was her chemo nurse. I was like, hello, what's going on here? I mean, like I said, I was entertained by the movie. My only critiques of the movie are little nitpicky things that have to do with when I watch a movie. Tell me a little bit about the character so I don't spend time trying to decipher who the character is. I know y'all. I think somebody. Hold on. Let me put my glasses on. I took them off. I saw the movie yesterday. Okay. Like the video. Thank you. Glenn Close played a great part. Man. Okay. I'll make sure I spoke to everybody. Thank you. Okay. All right. What did I say? Yeah. So that was that. I want to say his name is Omar Epps. Anyway, all that aside. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I was talking about the Glenn Close character, the Monique character, and the Andre Day character. That's the mama, the grandmama, and the CPS worker. Talking about those three first because the Angelou Ellis character came along near the end of the movie, close to the end of the movie, once everything had started popping off in the house. So it was your basic demonic possession movie with good acting. So let me say that. They moved into the house. Small things started happening first, knocking on walls, knocking on doors. They would knock on the door, the mother's door. Once she closed the door, the kids would hear the knocking on the walls. The youngest son started speaking to somebody who wasn't there. The youngest son's name was not Trey, my bad. The youngest son was speaking to somebody who called himself Trey, but he was nobody there. Like I said, the youngest son, he was young, but he was a little old for an imaginary friend because a lot of times imaginary friends come about children above school, before school, because they don't interact with children a lot, especially children who don't go to daycare or some kind of situation to where they are being exposed to a lot of people when they're younger. So a lot of times younger children will get an imaginary friend, somebody to talk to, converse with, and have relationships that other kids have with other children. Once children get into school, you don't see as many imaginary friends because now children have real people to talk to, real children their age to talk to. Now, it is said if you speak to paranormal um, people who claim to be paranormal experts and things like that, it is said that demonic spirits will present as something innocuous, something every day. A demon ain't gonna tell you his name. A demon will tell you his name is Steve or Betty. A demon will show up in the form of a child if it's trying to um and well, even for an adult it'll show up as a child, because one, children respond better to children, and adults will respond to a child spirit with empathy, as opposed to um critically, as opposed to being unwary or being anxious around it. They'll be a little more empathetic to it. So that's what is said. So a lot of times you will hear in movies that the spirit is a child or childlike. That's how it was with a lot of the movies. You go back and um, Poltergeist, they're here. You hear a lot of giggling, a lot of childlike things, because people will respond better to children than they will to adults, even spirits. So go figure. I don't know why she had to ask somebody who know more than me. So the little boy was seeing somebody who wasn't there, or speaking to somebody that nobody else could see. There was a dead cat in the basement. There were flies all over the place. There was knocking on the walls. There were bruises popping up on just the children, not on the mother. A lot of times it will be everybody in the house will be affected by the spirits or demons or whatever you want to call them. But in this case, it was just the children. The mother was hearing the things and seeing the things, but it was just the children that were being physically affected. The little girl had a bruise on her arm. The little boy had a bruise on his side. The older son was having more psychological things done to him than physical things. The mother was drunk most of the time, and the kids saw that. And so her response to things was thrown off, because instead of being wary, instead of being, what the hell, she was upset thinking the children were doing things. So a lot of her anger was focused on the kids, thinking that they were misbehaving or doing things out of turn, when in reality is whatever spirit was seeing that they could turn the mother against the children and the children against the mother very easily, because the mother was really not paying attention the way you would if you don't if you're if you don't if you're not an alcoholic or chemically enhanced in any way. When you're presented with a situation, I wouldn't. So I'm gonna say you. I'm gonna say me. If we moved into this house and then all of a sudden we started hearing knocking and stuff, and Nick was saying, "Hey, somebody is talking to me in the closet or whatever," I'm like, the first thing I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna call him crazy. That's what I'll never get about horror movies. If y'all go with me on this. Every time we watch a horror movie and somebody says, "I saw something out the corner of my eye, I saw something, baby, I heard something," that's not a rat, da 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 da. The first thing the husband or the wife wants to do with the spouse is go, "Well, there has to be a rational explanation for this. Maybe you were seeing things. Did you take your meds?" I'm like, they, why is the first place you go is, "I'm crazy"? Just because you didn't see it didn't mean it didn't happen. I don't know. Okay. So I never understood that. So she was responding to everything that was going on in the situation with her and the kids. She was responding in a way that alcoholics respond. They get mad. Anybody's ever lived through an alcoholic parent, you understand that people always joke about their funny alcohol. Their people get funny, hilarious when they become drunk or sweet or sappy. Nine times out of 10, if you're dealing with an alcoholic parent, you're dealing with a pissed off, upset, angry parent, and they're angry at you for just breathing, existing, standing in the room. And a lot of times, even though when she wasn't drunk, you could see how much she loved her kids, a lot of times she directed her anger at her children when she was drunk. And that way, the spirit or demon or whatever was going on in the house had free reign with those kids for a long time before she really started paying attention. So, push come to shove, something happened one night to where the spirit or demon got super active, super active. She had passed out on the bed and she kept hearing this knocking, this beating, this knocking, this beating. And she keeps hollering and screaming at the kids to shut up, be quiet, shut up, be quiet. And the kids aren't doing anything. Whatever is going on is happening to the kids. So she gets up, goes into the bedroom, and something happens. The way he cut the movie, you don't really see what happens. You don't know if somebody was thrown against the wall, whether she saw them get thrown against the wall. All you see is her screaming at the kids, her coming out the room. There is a little commotion, and the next thing you see is her kneeling on the floor crying, and the three kids huddled together in the bunk bed, holding each other, and the grandmama coming down the hall with a baseball bat in her hand because she heard the commotion, so she didn't know what was going on. And the first thing the grandmama thought was that the mama was hurting the kids, and that's what she said. She said, if you put your hands on the kids, I think she said, if you put your hands on the kids, I'll beat you or kill you or something. She said something to that effect. But the whole time, the mama character was just sitting there stunned because I'm assuming that the mother character saw the crazy stuff go on, but didn't know how to articulate it because she was drunk and she didn't know if what she saw was real. But we're looking at the wall. Now, understand, imagine coming into a bedroom, your kid's bedroom, and when you open the door, you face a wall that has a dresser in front of it, right? So let's say, for the sake of argument, you were tussling with your kids. The place to where you saw that somebody had been thrown or something was struck the wall was 3 or 4 feet above the dresser. So imagine me picking up Nick and throwing Nick not into the dresser, but 3 or 4 feet above the dresser with enough strength to crack the plaster and the wood behind it. Right then and there, mama and my grandma, if I'm coming in the room, I'm like, who the hell? It was just so much interpersonal turmoil in that family that whatever spirit was in the house had free reign because everybody, the kids were pissed off because the dad was gone and the mother was drinking, and grandma was pissed off because of all the shit she did to her daughter when her daughter was young, and now she feel like her daughter should forgive her because she saved. The daughter was pissed off because she went through years of psychological abuse, psychological, physical, and sexual abuse with the mother. Just she was tortured as a child by this mother, and now all of a sudden the mama think because she saved, the daughter's gonna forget all that and everything's gonna be smooth. So it was just so much interpersonal emotional turmoil going on in this family that the demon had free reign. It could act a fool and nobody was gonna blame it. So everything comes to a head. The little boy is hurting himself. The little boy is going down into the basement. They find the little boy banging his head on the door from the basement. There's a door that goes into the basement that's in the kitchen, and the mama is walking around and she hears this knocking and she seizes the basement door. Now, first of all, if you don't know your son is down in the basement and for some reason the basement door keeps bouncing and knocking real hard, my son Nick still would have been down there. I ain't gonna lie. Because nobody's supposed to be in the basement and this basement door is knocking real hard. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I would then go upstairs and check, and then I would check and see. But anyway, so she opens the door and the little boy is standing there banging his head on the door to where he's got this big bruise on his head. Now she already going through issues and complications, so she doesn't take him to the doctor. Which, I mean, if I was her and I was going through that stuff, I wouldn't either. I would make sure he's okay. I would watch him through the night, make sure he doesn't have a concussion, so he doesn't sleep and throw up and any of those things. She puts ice on him, but she's like, "What were you doing in the basement?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, he's standing there. If anything, he looked like he might have been sleepwalking. Why are you asking him? You don't know. You saw this little boy that you couldn't even wake up because even after she opened the door, he was still acting like he was hitting his head on the door. And it took her a couple of seconds. It took her a little minute to wake him up from his trance. And the first thing, what were you doing in the basement? I didn't know I was in the basement. Those questions don't make any sense to me. When you ask somebody who's clearly in some kind of trance or in some kind of fugue state, And you ask them first thing, why were you there? What were you doing? Clearly they don't know, because whatever they're doing is against their own best interest. You standing in a basement at the top of the stairs as a child, banging your head against the door is clearly not anything that's healthy for you to do. So no, he wouldn't be able to articulate why he was doing it, even if he was half awake. Those questions irk me. That's the only reason I say it. Anyway, so we keep seeing the boy. If you keep watching the little boy, he physically changes during the movie. He goes from this vibrant little boy to all of a sudden he's quiet, and then you can see the actual physical changes in where his skin becomes paler, his eyes become more sunken, and you can see the little glare. This little boy, I don't know his name. Again, like I said, I don't want to lie about these kids' name in the movie, but the little boy is acting his ass off because you can actually see him go from this sweet little boy who's trying to adjust to everything. They, from what I understand, they moved like 13 times in the past few years. It's, you can see him go from being I'm cool, I got my family, to slowly deteriorating. And the visuals are very good about that. So it comes to a point when all of a sudden he starts speaking in tongues. He starts acting out. Then the older son starts acting out. The little boy is in the bathtub, and the mom is giving him a bath, washing his hair. Something happens to where she walks away. Now, this is not an infant or a toddler. This child is 8 or 9, 9 or 10 years old in this movie. So you can give him a bath by himself. So she walks away to go do something. By the time she gets back, the older son is trying to drown the youngest son, and she can't get her son off. She can't get her older son off her little boy. She can't get him to pull her arms out, and eventually she gets it. She throws him back. The little boy has no idea. The older son has no idea what he's doing. He didn't even realize or remember being in there until he just looked at the fact that he's in the bathroom and he's wet. But she's hugging the youngest son. Now, if anybody has accidentally drowned, got into the deep end of the pool, slipped in the back, or not slipped, but slid up under the bathtub and water got in your nose, the first thing you're doing is coughing and spitting and doing all of that. The mother is holding the youngest son. He's not crying. He's not choking. He's not spitting up in the water. He's not doing anything. He is just looking over his brother with this slick grin like, I got you. Like I said, with the older two children, everything is a little more subtle, with the exception of the drowning his brother thing. With the little boy, it is constant, and it is a dramatic downgrade in his appearance, in his psyche, in everything. It all comes to a head. The children are taken away. The son is taken to the hospital. The two older children are put into a Christian group home, orphanage, interchangeable at this point, because the kids are just put into this little Christian place where they put kids that are taken away from their parents. The son, because of everything that has gone on, had a seizure, was talking in tongues, so they took him to the hospital, to where they took him to the floor with the children going through mental defects or disorders or defects. So he's tied down to the bed. It's chaos in the hospital. It's chaos with the little boy, not the whole hospital, just with the little boy. Huh? I remember listening to you tell a story and watch that. I mean, it's nothing overt. Because baby said she rather me listen to me tell the story than to watch it. There's nothing overt. There's like no demonic faces. There's not even any red eyes or anything like that. There's just subtle physical changes in the kids till the boy gets into this constant decline. There's a drunk mama, and there's the used to be addict grandmama who's going through chemotherapy, and who the daughter and the mama have issues with each other. So it's not really anything overt. You just have to watch the story, and you get invested in these kids. You want the mama to be okay. You want the mama to stop drinking. You want to know why she mad with the grandmother. And eventually near the end, you figure out why she's mad with the grandmother. That's when the ingenue Ellis character comes in. She's a pastor. That's the last. If you look at the screen grabs for the poster from Deliverance, you'll see four women. It's Andra Day, Glenn Close, Monique, and Ingenue Ellis. These four women are the basis of the story. Um, so you get to, there has been, throughout the story, there has been a woman following this family. When Monique first got there, the first time Monique showed up at the house, when she let Monique out of the house, she looked over and she saw a lady sitting across the street videotaping her taking pictures of the house. She didn't say anything and she assumed that she was with the Monique character. The next time Monique came over there, she saw her again. This time she actually spoke to her, but she was more pissed off than anything. She took the bat, hit the car, and said, you know, I know who you work for, da 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 da. You've seen her in different times just walking past the house and looking at the house, looking sad, looking at the house like she knew what happened there. She knew what's going on. In your mind, you go, oh, she got something to do with this house. She's not. I never thought that she was with Monique. I always thought that she had something to do with the house or something that went on in the house. Because understand, before the last like 30, 40 minutes of the movie, nobody knew what had happened in the house previously. There had been nobody came over there. You know how in a lot of movies that you'll have a neighbor come over there, they ain't tell you what happened in the house. You don't know what happened in the house. Da 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 da. So nobody did it. It wasn't until um it wasn't until one day something had happened in the house and the mother had finally saw it. The mother was like, this was before the kids got taken from her. This is the reason why the kids were taken. So let me get to that. There's a reason why the kids were taken. Was because one day it's storming outside. The mother has finally seen something that makes her understand that it's something not right with these kids, and it's not right in not a medical or psychological way. There is something spiritual, supernatural. There is something demonic going on with my kids, and I got to get my kids out. So she's driving away from the house. She's speeding, talking to the kids. The kids talking reckless to her. She keep looking back at the kids while she's driving real fast during the rain. And I'm sitting there like, is she gonna hit somebody? So all of a sudden, in the mirror, she sees the little boy and his eyes go black, and they do that, when they make the face look demonic and look scary. And she screams and she stops and she pulls into what looks like a cafe or a restaurant of some kind. And she runs in there dripping wet, screaming, help me, help me. Something is trying to kill my kids. And the people run out of that, the people run out and look in the car and they see the kids crying and covered in water, because when she ran out of the car, she left the door open. I'm assuming that's why the kids were covered in water. That particular incident, her sitting over there, sitting in the rain, screaming that something's happening to my kids, somebody trying to kill my kids, and the people not understanding what's going on. This is now when they take the children. This was the event that got the children completely taken from her. The little boy ended up in a hospital. The other kids ended up in the orphanage. And the pastor, the lady, she had, at some point introduced herself and gave her a card at some point. Um, so after all that was done, after the kids were taken and she was going through what she was going through, she called. Y'all know what? I think I'm wrong. Because I think before that happened, I want to say before that happened, the mother and the pastor were in a diner eating together. And the pastor then told her the story of what happened in the house. What happened in the house before they moved into the house. There was this family, beautiful family. It's a mother, a father, two children. No, mother, father, one child. No, it was two children because it was a girl and a boy. My bad, my bad. The mother, father, girl, and a boy. Beautiful family, loving, everything was hunky dory. Then all of a sudden, the little boy started talking in tongues, seeing things, being hurt. Uh, knocks started happening. Everything that had happened to Andre Day's character had happened to the previous family. It all comes to a head that she is trying to exorcise the little boy. The Angelou Ellis character, the pastor is trying to exorcise the little boy. It didn't work. She lost the little boy. But what had happened was the mother decapitated the father, killed the daughter, and then killed herself. The little boy died during the exorcism. The mother decapitated the father, killed the daughter, and then killed herself, all in the house that Andre Day had moved her, her kids, and her mom into. And the pastor was like, I don't want to lose another one. The same thing that was attacking, same thing that was attacking the son is now attacking your family. And then Andre Day says, what was the name of the little boy? And the pastor said, Trey. And Andre Day said, my son has been talking to an invisible friend by the name of Trey. And it all kind of clicked. But like I said, the Andre Day character was still fighting her demons at the time, and she didn't want to hear it. So she walked out, but she kept her lady's card. She kept the pastor's card. Kept the card. So on the night that she got her children taken away from her, she looked at the pastor's card. She drove straight to the pastor's house, and she sat down and told the pastor everything that was happening. And she said, we have to do a deliverance. That's where the movie comes in at. That's where the name of the movie comes in at. In the movie, a deliverance is, she was like, 108 character was like, you got to perform an exorcism. She said, I don't do that. I'm not Catholic. I don't do that. I'm Baptist. We do what is called a deliverance. I'm like, okay. I didn't know there was a difference. New to me. She said, but first, huh? Oh, she did? Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm kind of bouncing around. I'm not telling y'all this in the right order. So just so y'all know, when y'all watch the movie, I'm not telling y'all this in the right order. I'm going to tell the real story in the right order because I'm going to look at it. But I'm just remembering things because I only watched the movie one time. Me and Brittany watched it the other, I want to say Friday night. I think Friday night when it first came out. So I'm not telling you in the order. I'm just telling you what I remember as it comes to me. So we get to the deliverance part of the movie to where why it's called deliverance becomes apparent. So it's not considered an exorcism outside of Catholicism. And I guess in this particular aspect, this is a Baptist pastor and they call it a deliverance. But what you first have to do is give yourself over to God. The grandmother who was killed by the spirit, by the way, I didn't put that in there, but the grandmother was killed by with the demon. So I'll let y'all know. Oh shit. These are spoilers. My bad. I'm gonna put on there um on the thing when we do the replay. I'm gonna put spoiler alerts on here. Well, I forgot that I was spoiling the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to mess it up for you. My bad. Should have said that in the beginning. I'm gonna mess the movie up. If you haven't seen it, if you're the kind of person who can't do spoilers, then don't listen to me. But come back after you watch it and then watch it with me. Okay? Okay. Um, so the Glenn Close character was saved. She was no longer in the streets. She was no longer doing it. She was no longer had the issue that caused the issues between her and her daughter. I was coming to find out that mama used to be a crackhead. And let me preface this by saying I call everybody a crackhead. Meth, heroin, crack, whatever. It's all crack to me. I don't feel like trying to figure out what drug was your drug of choice. It's crackhead. Mama used to be a crackhead and used to sell Andre Day for money. She used to sell her daughter. She used to give her daughter to men. Men would come assault her daughter and she would get paid for it. And that's how Andre Day grew up. That's how she learned how to cope with alcohol. That's how she learned her experiences, her relationships with men. People don't realize that certain parts of your character, certain parts of who you are shaped by how you're brought up. Now, like I said, at some point as an adult, you have to stop making using your parents as excuses for what you're doing now. But how you respond to certain situations can be shaped by how you were raised. Andra Day's character was raised to where she was not loved by her mother, which is really all she wanted. Because your mama is giving you away to men for money so they can stay high. I don't stop blaming it on the drugs. You know you have. There are millions of crackheads out there right now who will sell you all they ass, but will shoot you if you try to touch their baby. So please don't put that shit on drugs. Please don't. That's all I got to say on that. Anyway, so Andre Day's character got with the pastor, and the pastor's like, "You have to be saved. You have to open yourself up to God. You have to open yourself up to be delivered, to be saved before we can do this in your house." So she did a whole prayer and opening her up and trying to get the Andre Day character to see that you are loved. You're loved. God loves you. You are loved. You are loved and you are wanted. So once they did all of that, the pastor and the mama went back to the hospital to get the son. Now, while the pastor and the mama was sitting over there, fixing the mama, getting ready for this deliverance, Monique goes to the hospital to check on the little boy. Now, we find out earlier in the movie that Monique's character, the CPS worker, she had lost a child. She said, I turned my back for a few seconds, and next thing I know, he ran into the pool and he died. My son died, Julian, when he was 7. So I can kind of understand why Monique's character have attitude because of that. However, like I said, Monique's character is still acting like the mama had did something personal to Monique. Not that Monique had lost a child and went through that, but it still she wasn't acting. She was acting like she was mad with Andre Day's character, not because of how Andre Day treated her kids, but because Andre Day did something to Monique. That's all I'm saying. When you watch it, y'all may get something different from that. That's just my take on it. So even knowing that Monique lost a child, and if you lose, lost a child, it still doesn't justify how she acted. But anyway, so the Andre Day character had been trying to tell Monique before their last time that something going on with my kid. It is something supernatural, spiritual, something is going on with my kids. I am not hurting my children. She keeps reiterating that. And then Monique character keeps like, well, I wouldn't have to do this, and the third if you didn't do this, and the third. I'm like, but she's not talking about other stuff. I mean, I don't know. At some point, you got to be like, maybe let me look, you know. Anything, if you want to really keep kids with parents, if you really, really want to keep these kids together, ain't nobody listening to me, baby. I don't have no people. Anyway, um, so back to what I was saying. Monique goes to the hospital. The little boy is now in restraints. She goes into the room, into the hospital room, and she's asking the little boy how he is. And the little boy does that creepy demonic possession thing that they do in movies. And he's like, well, how's Julian? No, he's like, well, he's watching you. And she's like, who's watching? Julian. She was like, did your mother? How do you know about Julian? Did your mother tell you that? And he says no, da 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 da, for whatever reason, how he knows. But all of a sudden, the little boy busts out the restraints, jumps, does a Spider-Man jump onto the floor, flips backward, and crawls up the wall backwards and stares at Monique. Monique leaves immediately. Now, some stuff go on that we don't see, and you go back, and now Andre Day is delivered, and the pastor and Andre Day go to the hospital to break the little boy out of the hospital. So she goes into the room, gets the little boy, puts him in the car. Now, I don't know what that little boy did, but um, some people, a few men, a white man, and some other people come up there, and they want to see the little boy. And asked the nurse who was sitting at the nurse's desk to take him to the room. The nurse said, "We're not going back in there. We're not going in our room. He in 308 or whatever number it was." And they looked at him like, we're not going in there. And didn't know how to move. They just looked at him like, you going in, you want to. So by then, the little boy was already gone. Huh? Oh, so they take the little boy back to the house. I didn't understand that. At the end of the day, it is something wrong with that house. It's not the people. It's the house. It's the land. It's not the people. Why would you go to fight the demon in the demon house? Come on now. Take him to the church. Take him to some sanctified ground. Take him to some holy ground. Don't take that baby back into the place where the demon has a stronghold. I'm just saying. That being said, they tie the little boy to the chair, and now the demon is in full force. He is in full effect. He's not even trying to be the little boy no more. He's doing his demon stuff. So at first he does a demon face with the little boy, but then he decides, you know what? I'm gonna get this mama. So he turns into her mama, but not her mama like her mama looks for real. He turns into her mama. Now, I understand that, like I said, her mama's going through chemotherapy, so she wears a wig through most of the movie, but she does take the wig off, and you can see that she's bald and her hair is scratched. You can see that without the makeup, she looks sickly because she has this darker foundation on and painted on eyebrows and her wig on through most of the movie. But at some point, she takes all that off, and you can see the struggle under all that. So when they go back to the house to do deliverance on the little boy turns into the demon little boy, and then it turns to the demon grandmother with the sharp teeth and the demon eyeballs, and they're sitting up there going back and forth. So eventually the demon gets tired of playing with them. So the demon mama breaks out of the restraints, crawls on the floor, and disappears. So then the battle between good and evil ensues. Now, in this particular movie, they don't even play. I don't know whether, now understand this. The pastor said, I already lost one person. I lost the little boy. I lost the family. I ain't going to lose you. That's what now let me tell y'all something. Tell y'all some good shit. If I go to a pastor or a preacher or a priest to get a deliverance on my family, and they say they weren't strong enough for the first one, ain't no way in four hells you gonna come play with my family. What I look like sitting up there letting you come over here and let's do it again with my, no, absolutely not. Who is your boss? I'm gonna turn it to Karen. Let me speak to the manager. Cause ain't no way in four hells I'm about to let your, I already lost the family, but I ain't gonna lose another one ass in my house. I say that to say this. Once the demon starts doing demon stuff in the house, you stupidly took him back. So I was so pissed off about her taking that. I got like it was real, like I'm watching something real on TV. Like I'm watching a documentary. I got pissed off as hell about her taking that child back to the house. That is the stronghold that is the demon's house. That's what they called it. Back to the house where the demon live. Because once he get there, he starts showing his ass. So he turns into the demon grandmother, breaks out of the restraints, and starts to just disappear and pop up all over the house. So needless to say, the electricity go out, it get dark in there, it's storming outside, and everybody tripping. So the demon eventually kills the pastor. The demon that killed the grandmama. Now understand that the demon that killed two folks, the grandmama and now the pastor. And the only person left to fight for her son is the mama. So fast forward to the climax to where the demon and the mama go head to head in the basement. So they're in the basement, and there's this hole in the floor in the basement. And now it's the little demon boy back to talking to his mama, telling her about herself. You're not strong enough. I mean, the demon is whooping her ass, and the demon then switches to the mama. It's mama on mama. It's Andre Day versus Andre Day. Demon Andre Day, and then mama Andre Day. The demon. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I've never seen. I think I like it because the very passive aggressive way that they have demon in other movies pisses me off because it's a demon. If you're gonna do this demon stuff, do all the demon stuff. So in this particular movie, this demon do demon stuff. He is whooping ass. He done killed two. He strangled the grandmama. He smothered her or something. He beat the pastor to death. He beat him. And he was trying to beat Andre Day to death. But Andre Day realized in that moment that the only thing that was going to save her son was her. And that mama love that real mamas have, even sometimes they can't access it because I'm gonna tell you something. Mothers are people too. Mothers are human beings. They have good days and bad days. Mothers fight demons internally just like everybody else, but you push those demons aside because at the end of the day, the love for your child is more powerful than anything else in the whole wide world. And that's where the deliverance came in, is that you had to believe so fully and completely in God that your faith had to be ironclad. That was the only way she was going to save her son. So I'm feeling that it was like the pastor's faith wasn't ironclad. The pastor was doing it out of selfish things. I lost one child, I ain't gonna lose another one. Not for the great love of children themselves or the respect of children or her great love and faith in God. But I lost one child, I ain't gonna lose another. No, you lost your life. But the mom was like, if I give up, if I just take this ass woman and lay down, my children are going to be lost. All of my children are going to be lost. Because while the mother and the son are fighting, the mother and the demon are fighting, the kids are being attacked in the group home that they're in. The little girl has stigmata. The little boy is going through physical growing up. He eventually crawls into the chapel. The little girl is she's having stigmata. For anybody who doesn't know what stigmata is, those are religious representations. Those are physical religious representations that come spontaneously through divine intervention. The thorns across the forehead, the bleeding of the forehead, the holes in the hands and feet, stigmata. Uh, the little girl is going through stigmata. She's levitating over the bed. The son is having physical reactions to what is going on. The mother then realizes that if I give up, if I just say forget it, let me die, my children will die. And she's like, absolutely not. And then all of a sudden, that's when the spirit fills her and it takes over. She starts speaking in tongues. She holds up her hands and she gives herself 100% completely to God. And through her, God shows the demon actually was about to go on. So for like a couple of minutes, she speaks in tongues and it gets more in the crescendo and it builds and it builds. And the demon is looking at her because the demon thinks he's won. The demon has beat her into the floor of the basement, walking off with that stank walk that I done beat this ass and I'm about to, my peacock walk. That's what the demon did. The demon turned his back on the mother, and then all of a sudden, the mom was struggling to see her struggling to get up, and a couple of times she fell, but then eventually she started remembering her kids and the laughter and the hugs and the kisses and the lives that she brought into the world. And that all flooded through her. And in doing so, it gave her clarity that she's like, I have all these children have. And she found herself. She found her love for God. She found that perfect peace that you're supposed to get during any trial and tribulation. And when she found that in herself, she raised her hands to the Lord. She started speaking in tongues, speaking the language of God. And all that the demon could do was like, what? Wait, what? Wait, I'm a demon. I'm not supposed to, this is not supposed to go on. So she keeps speaking, and the son is having a violent reaction, and the daughter is bleeding, and she's convulsing, and eventually she is elevated above her bed and holding her arms out in the Christ position. The son is laying on the floor of the chapel in the Christ position, and the mother is continuously speaking in the tongues. You just sit there, and I'm just sitting there, just kind of glued to the TV, like, come on now, what's gonna happen? And the demon is looking like, oh shit, I'm about to go to hell. That's all the demon could think, because all you can see is the smoking, and eventually she is so powerful in this deliverance that the demon catches on fire, that the demon Andre Day catches on fire. And eventually the demon Andre, the demon mama, falls into the hole, and Andre Day lays down and is quiet for a moment. She collects herself and she looks for her son. And she finds her son in the remnants of what was going on with the demon mama. And you see the son laying there, and she crawls to her son and she wraps herself around the son. The children, the older daughter and son, everything that was happening to them stops, and there's a certain peace that falls over the screen, and you have to kind of smile when you see it. So fast forward to them moving out of the house, absolutely, and the scene comes in, and Monique comes in, and she tells Monique that we're leaving, we're going back to, I think, Philly. She's like, me and my husband are gonna give it another try. And she hugs the Monique character, and she gets in the car, and the last thing you see is them driving away from the city they're in, and that's it. Like I said, I would give it as I talk about it, and I realize I'll watch it again. I give it a solid B. Like I said, there are certain things I didn't like. I didn't like that there wasn't a little bit of backstory so that we wouldn't have to guess through the movie. You know, I wish for a little more backstory, but then that's just me. Again, this is my grade. I would suggest you watch it. Um, it was a good movie. It was very good. Excellent cast. The cast will get A+. The cast gets an A+, including the kids. The cast gets an A+. Because that little boy, it was acting his little behind off. Um, so all in all, I would recommend you watching the movie. Now, because I've been on here a little bit over an hour, so I'm gonna give y'all a little backstory. This movie, The Deliverance, was based on a true story. The story it was based on was the story of Latoya Ammons. Her name is Ammons. Ammons. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Latoya Ammons. Her three children and her mother. They moved to this house in Gary, Indiana. It was actually a house. Hold on. I got it pulled up. The son, who was the focus of the demonic possession, even though all the children were affected, but one was more focused than the other one was a 9-year-old. Now, hold on. Now, let me see if they would get. Hold on. All right. 2011. This happened in 2011. They moved into a house in Gary, Indiana. Small one-story house. At the time that they moved in, I didn't know, there were flies swarming on the screened-in porch in December. Now, if anybody from Indiana know, it's a little cold to have that many flies out, because flies kind of just don't swarm because it's a nice day. They swarm because there's something there. It really wasn't anything there, and it was kind of snowy when they moved in. So people like that wasn't really normal, but I guess it wasn't abnormal enough to keep them from moving in the house. So they moved into the house. So that was immediately as they were moving into the house. They said other things, strange things happened too. After midnight, The grandmother and the mother said they both heard the steady clump of footsteps climbing the basement stairs and the basement door going into the kitchen opening and closing. The grandmother said one night she saw a shadowy figure pacing in the living room, which turned the lights on, wasn't there. Um, about a year later, they've been in the house about a year. The 12-year-old levitates. It said at about 2 a.m. in March. Said when the children would have been asleep, they were mourning the death of somebody who died in the kids' friend group, and somebody started screaming for the mama. Next thing they know, they run into the bedroom and they see the 12-year-old levitating above the bed, unconscious. Okie dokie then. Hold on. The people who were visiting the house, I understand there were people in the house at that time. The people who were visiting the house never came back. Now understand there was a CPS worker that came out to the house. They were actual police. Y'all get these. This is just not. Now I get that some things can be embellished. I get that a lot of people, the majority of the world, does not really believe in the supernatural and stuff like that. Yeah, the reality world they don't. If somebody tells you they saw a ghost or they hear thumping and stuff, the first thing you're gonna say is you ain't see that, or yeah, most people don't believe in the supernatural. However, this lady had people who weren't related to her backing her up. Excuse me, I had to take a sip. Um, she said she can remember telling her daughter we need help, we need to talk to somebody. She said they don't know exactly who to talk to, so they called a lot of local churches, but they refused to listen. Eventually, after listening to the mother and the grandmother talk about the house and visiting, officials at one of the churches told them that the Carolina Street house had spirits in it. The Carolina Street house was the street that the house was on. So they recommended they clean the bleach with bleach and ammonia. That ain't got nothing to do with cleaning the house of spirit. Anyway, at the church's suggestion, Ammon said she poured olive oil on the three children's feet and hands, then smeared oil in the shape of crosses on their forehead. She's not a priest or anything. Come on now. Understand that religion is faith based. It's not anything, it's your faith that it's real. It's your faith in pastors, in the Bible, in the Word of God, in angels. It's your faith. It's intentions. You just sit up there drawing a cross on the baby forehead and olive oil. What you gonna cook up? You making a salad? What the hell are y'all telling me? Let me tell y'all something. I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama. All right. Bible Belt. I grew up in the buckle of the belt. Smack dab in the middle of Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. Understand? Smack dab. My mama to this, let me tell you something. When I left home, my mama had a bottle of blessed olive oil sitting on her goddamn top of the refrigerator. You gonna tell me that you just sent this lady out here butt booty ass naked to go into the Safeway and get some olive oil and just pour it on the children? You ain't blessing nothing. You ain't putting you ain't putting the word on the oil, unless she was marinating her children. That oil didn't do shit but make them greasy. Okay. I'm mad. I'm mad. I ain't read this stuff, y'all. I haven't read. I like to read stuff as opposed to watch. Here's the thing. I like to read a book first, then watch the show. So I hadn't really read. Okay. So then the mama goes to a clairvoyant who made an altar in the basement. Listen, y'all. I am not an expert. Realistically, I don't think there are experts in the supernatural because there's no way for you to quantify that you're an expert. You may have read one more book than the person next to you. That's the beginning and the end of the situation. Because realistically, there are very few minute, rare, proven, proven existences of the spirit world. Demons, ghosts, whatever, whatever, whoop-de whoop. Grainy photographs and doctored videos don't count. So everybody that hollers and screams that they're an expert, okay, yay, you're an expert in something that can't be proven. Cool. That's like when I watch stuff and I hear people talking about when they put them on TV and a paranormal expert, expert in it. How, bitch? What? How you an expert? Who gave you a degree? The devil? Get out of my face. Anyway, so, but because I am well read, I'm not an expert. However, when you're speaking about something demonic, something is considered demonic. It is a spirit that was never in human form. Ghosts and things, that is if somebody were to ask you to define what a demon is without you saying it's something from God or the devil. It is a spirit that never held a human form. It was never human in the first place. Ghosts, poltergeists, spirits, those are the residual leftover energy from a living person, human being, dog, whatever, depending upon what you believe in. Demonic spirits never held human form. They are almost 100% evil in origin, and the spirit did not hold human form. Didn't come from you dying. I say that to say this. You do not want to invite evil spirits of any kind, human or inhuman, into your residence, into your place where you live at, into the place where you lay your head at. You do not want to invite them. And there are certain things that people consider invitations. One of those things is an altar. They said that a clairvoyant set up an altar in the basement. Hear me out. For all those that actually do like the supernatural, uh, maybe dabble in a little bit, maybe do a little holy oil, maybe do a little spell or two every now and again, cool. If you set an altar in your home, even if you're not supernatural, even if you're just spiritual and you want to invite in God, you set up an altar. If you don't want to invite something into your home, into you, do not put up an altar of any kind. There's no such thing as a reverse altar. There's no such thing as an altar that says, shoo now, go home. This lady told them to put an altar. I wish the hell I might. Okay. All right. Understand that this article that I'm reading now was originally published in 2014. So I'm sure things have happened. A few things have happened. But hold on, let me go back to where she said, hold on, hold on, hold on. Where is it? Bleaching them on. You must be out your mind. Okay. Now I'm going to read you directly from this article. This article is from Indie Star. It was originally published in 2014. This is directly what it said. It's not a quote. It's just I'm reading what the article said. Um, Campbell and Amons also told the Star they reached out to two clairvoyants who said the family home was besieged by more than 2,200 demons. Their explanation made sense to Campbell and Amons, they say, because it meshed with their Christian faith. The best thing they can do is move. Amos remembers the clairvoyants telling her, but moving wasn't an option for the cash-strapped family. Instead, Amos said she took a clairvoyant's advice and made an altar in the basement. Amos covered an end table with a white sheet, then placed a white candle and a statue of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus on it. She opened the Bible to Psalm 91. She said another person donned what? She said she and another person donned white t-shirts and wound white scarves around their heads. Also, on the clairvoyant's advice, they burned sulfur throughout the house, sage and sulfur throughout the house, starting upstairs and working their way down. The smoke was so thick they could hardly breathe. Amos drew a cross in the smoke, and the person read from Psalm 91 aloud as they moved through the house. Listen, y'all. Let me tell y'all some good stuff. Now I can see why the demons was having a field day. Because I'm flabbergasted. I'm just lost. Anyway, long story short, eventually they found somebody to help exercise the little boy. Uh, the family moved out of the house. People said that even though nobody lived in the house, now nobody lived in the house from the time they left until the time Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures purchased the house. He purchased the house. They gave him the keys. He did a whole movie called Demon House. Y'all can look it up. It will give you a little bit of the backstory on the Deliverance and the Amos family because he did his own investigation and his own interviews with the not. I think they even talked to the CPS worker because I told y'all the CPS worker, the real CPS worker, not the one in the movie, but the real CPS worker who saw the little boy spider climb backwards up the wall. The real CPS worker quit her job and left Indiana. There was also a police officer that retired after seeing stuff going on in that house. Now, the reality is that people are going to try to make a buck off anybody. Make no mistake about it. You know, because there was an uncle over there saying, I'm going to sell my store for this X amount of dollars, da, da, da. If you ain't paying me, I ain't saying. If you ain't paying, I ain't saying. So everybody gonna try to make a big buck, but for the most part, people who had no financial gain was telling y'all something wrong with that house. It was demons and spirits or something in that house, and I'm not going back. So eventually, like I said, Zach Baggins bought the house, did this movie called Demon House, to where he went through the rooms, showed y'all the different things that other people, the police say that when they were checking out the house, this oily substance popped up on the blinds, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. It was just stuff. And I mean, now, wow, let me tell y'all something. Well, I don't believe somebody who uses ghosts for money, because the reality is that even if you started off really want to be a ghost hunter and you ended up thinking that it's a lot more lucrative to be a fool, I don't play with the spirit world like that. I'll talk to y'all about a movie, but I'm not about to sit up here and do no seance. We're not going to the haunted house. I watched the movie last night with this fool. Hear me out. Hear me out. I watched the movie last night with this guy. It was an older movie. It was bad. It was about 10 years old. To when people first started being influencers and doing the vlogs and going out doing the crazy stuff for YouTube and for whatever to get viral. It wasn't a real movie. I mean, it was a movie. It wasn't a documentary. It's a movie. And so he says something, messes up his stuff, and he wants to get back his popularity and his viewership. He says, I'm going to take y'all into this haunted house, and he takes them into the haunted house by himself. Now, hear me, by himself. Nobody with him, no cameraman or nothing. He's alone. He goes into this haunted, scary house by himself. I'll say one more time. With no backup. Carries his ass off in there. Did no research. Except for he only researched the scary stuff. He tears up the one thing that was keeping the demons at bay. So no sooner than he tears up this something that was on a wall, then this girl shows up, says she's a fan. Okay. Immediately we leaving. Why? They in there doing seances. She got him saying some kind of language that he didn't know what the hell he was saying. She was just absolutely not. I'm not doing none of that for y'all. I said all that to say this. I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna do a seance. I'm never gonna go to a haunted house and use. I'm never gonna use a Ouija board ever, not never, not one time. Now I may go over some scary stuff. I may make this a thing to where I look up scary stuff and we talk about it. I may do that. That's in my wheelhouse. You know why? Because I got sense enough not to mess with shit. I'm not about to go into the ghost house and holler about if you hear, let me know. It's your house. Clearly, I'm not wanted. I don't need to know if you there. I don't pay the bills there. I don't have a mortgage. It's your house. I'm not doing it. I want to go to what is it? Shepherdstown. I want to go to Shepherdstown. It's supposed to be the most haunted place in America, and it is here in Virginia, and it is on the way to the casino that my wife likes to go to. So I would like to one day go to Shepherdstown during the day. And I'm going to tell y'all some good shit. I like scary stuff. But if I go into the place, there's I don't know whether it's an inn or some shit. I don't know what it is. I think it's an inn. It used to be an inn or it's an old house, whatever. If I go in there and one door closed, just one, when I tell y'all my fat ass is going to run up out of that bitch like I'm Usain Bolt, and the next thing y'all going to see is some smoke coming off my shoes like I'm Fred Flintstone, absolutely not. Absolutely. Nope. I ain't even cuss. My bad. What the hell? And y'all know I love it. It's got to be spooky season. We about to get it on. It is 2 months away from Halloween, and it's about to be all things spooky. I started my spooky in September. But again, that's just something I'm not sitting up. No, I don't want to sell my soul. No, I don't want to know what the demon said. No, I don't want to go in there. No, you heard it. That's good. I believe. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But anyway, so Zach Bagans bought the demon house, did his little thing in there. Y'all go watch it. I don't want to go over Zach because he makes me laugh because everything he does looks fake. And the killing part is maybe he's telling the truth, but everything he does, it looks like it's fake. So let's go with that. So like I said, I think it's on Prime. I think if anybody got Prime, they can go watch Demon House. Check it out if you want to know that part. So yeah, that's the Deliverance. That's the backstory. And that's it. I recommend you go watch it. It's a good movie. It's not super scary. Yeah, it's not a bunch of jump scares. It can be, I wouldn't watch it with my baby, but I'd watch it with Nick. So I watched it with my other child. So what was I about to say? Oh, make sure y'all like this video. My bad. I got a little turned right up. Make sure you hit that like button. If y'all already had hit that like button for me. I want to thank everybody who came through today. I appreciate it. We're going to find another movie. I'll find another movie. I might find another movie today. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that every time we drop a video go live, you guys can join us. I'm sure my wife will be doing something later on this week. Wednesday comes about. There might be a subject that hit me and I hit y'all up on Wednesday. I'll let y'all know. We'll see. Again, I give Deliverance a solid B. Y'all go watch it. Watch Demon House if y'all want to know the backstory. And the family's real name is Ammons, Ammons. Look it up. There might be a documentary about it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. And again, bye y'all.
That's right. Thank you for watching. Thank y'all for coming through. That's right. You came through a DC Kool-Aid and Lisa production live stream. Make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And we will be back with another live stream.
And I put it on Caesars. All I got is certified trunk visas. Charge a couple cool K for the features. It ain't about the money, then you probably can't reach us. Hey, and I put it on mamas. Do it for the soul, for the fam, and the commas. Don't act, be chill with the dramas. All you gotta just be you and be.
Be honest. That's what we talking about. Them YouTube streets got to be honest. On these YouTube streets, we got the mukbangers, the prankers, even the haters. We love vlogging, cooking, and pranks and challenges. Always have the real talk, and with